You need to see the incredibly rare move that Bitcoin just made. This could send shockwaves worldwide. Take a look. Bitcoin just had a double death cross, but then it rallied all the way back up to this green line. Now in today's video, I'm gonna have really good news and I'm gonna have really bad news, because take a look the last time we had this rare double death cross. It was 4 years ago, 2022, at $48,000 Bitcoin. We had this rare cross and we crashed down from 48,000 all the way down to 15,000. 4 years before that was the prior one. We had a double death cross at about $8,000 and from there crashed all the way down to 3,000. The first time Bitcoin ever had a double death cross was here, 2014, 4 years earlier, when we had a double death cross around $400 and we subsequently crashed well below $168. Now, as I mentioned in today's video, I've got good news and I've got bad news, because as you know, Bitcoin has just had a double death cross. I clearly articulated what it did the last 3 times that it had this cross. In other words, the last 12 years has operated pretty much exactly the same, but this time we had this rally, a rally to this green line. And that's what we're gonna really dive in today, because I've got good news for you and I've got bad news. So let's get into it. Hey, I'm Steve. I show you facts in the charts. No paid ads, no paid sponsorships. Just straight facts that really help you. Subscribe. Trade like a tourist or go with the pros. The FFA is where the real ones go. Link in description. So here we are. We are on the Bitcoin US dollar index, and today we're on the 2-day chart. On the chart, we have 2 moving averages. We have a green one and a red one. The green one is the 50 MA moving average, and the red one is the 200 MA. So if you go to your indicators, you type in moving average, you put that bad boy on, you put one in green, one in red, and what you look for on a 2-day chart. The reason why we're not using a 1-day chart, on the 1-day chart, there's golden crosses and death crosses, but there's a lot of false signals. What do I mean by that? Well, a death cross is when the green one, the 50 MA, crosses below the red one, the 200 MA. And when they do that on a 2-day cross, you can see it's pretty much set in stone. There are no false signals. If you go on the 1-day, you can see false signals everywhere. So a golden cross is the opposite, when the green one goes back up. Some people may think, oh, well, this is a lagging indicator. It's like, well, hello, every indicator on planet Earth is a lagging indicator. Let's get that out the way. What you want to understand is this is incredibly accurate, predicting big market shifts. Plain and simple, and that's not up for debate. Keep in mind, when we had this death cross 4 years ago, I sat here in this chair and covered it, and nobody wanted to take it seriously. And I presented the data, and I said, look, the past 8 years we've had this cross, the top was already in, and then we had a mega crash. So I made those 2 things abundantly clear. A mega crash and the top already being in. And again, people didn't take it seriously. What happened after that is we had a mega crash. Plain and simple. Look at right where we had this, right? Now, if you go the cycle before that, I remember being right here in this chair back in 2018, back in August, and covering it. I covered the 2-day death cross. Everyone pushed it off to the side. I said a big crash is coming. And then I covered the 3-day death cross, which happened a couple months later when we were just hanging out right at above 6,500. And the sentiment of the market was the bottom is already in and the bull market is going to start. And I pumped the brakes again. I said, guys, not only do we have the 2-day death cross, we had the 3 right after that. By the way, everybody's been asking me, what is your opinion on the pi cycle top indicator? You know it hasn't crossed, and you know that it predicts Bitcoin is going to go well over 200,000. They've also been asking me, what's my opinion on the hash ribbons. The hash ribbons just printed a buy signal. I have an idea. Stick around until later. I'm going to tell you this good idea. You've got to take these death crosses on the 2-day and the 3-day remarkably serious. Go ahead, put it on your charts right now. Put on the 3-day death cross. Put the 50 MA, the 200 MA, throw on the 3-day and look at it. Men lie, women lie. The charts don't lie. Luckily for us, we don't have a 3-day death cross yet. Tilt your phone to the side and subscribe. Let's just be very clear about that. We just had a 2-day death cross. We have not had a 3-day death cross. But what we have had just recently, hot off the press, is a rally as we speak up to this green line. That's what I want to cover in this video because I've got good news and I've got bad news. Now, I think we've covered the bad news. I think we've covered it at length. I think I've clearly articulated, hey, the bad news is this is not looking good, right? I'll get more to the bad news a little bit later. I want to get very specific about the bad news so that you can have clarity. And I also want to get very, very, very specific about the good news. In order to understand that, let's take a step back and try to understand this move that has just happened in Bitcoin and try to make sense of it. Because we can see, we have our green moving average in our red, and we can see for the entirety of the bull, we stayed above this red line. First, I want to look at the structure and understand that. And then I want to understand, okay, if we did fall below the red line, did we subsequently rally up to this green line? And what does it mean happens next? This is the key to the entire video. What does it mean happens next? We know there's good news. We know there's bad news. It could be really good. It could be really bad. But what happens next? That is the key we're going to hone into. In order to understand what happens next, we're going to take this couple-year fractal pattern and we're going to look at the past market cycle and make sense of it, right? So we're just get a clear understanding. We held the red line as support through the entire bull, not up for debate, right? The bull started back here, 20,000, whatever. Now, in the prior market cycle, you can see that we held the red line as support for the entirety of the bull, except the COVID crash. And the COVID crash, I've explained this before. If you love charts, then this will be music to your ears. This was a double bottom. Bitcoin always double bottoms when we have a bottom. Look at this double bottom in Jan 15 and then again in August 15, right? This market bottomed here and then it was unorthodox. This was a phenomenally powerful move out of a bear market, is not sustainable. And it just was a failed rally. And then we double bottom. And as soon as we double bottom, the market reset. And then we went on our true bull run. Trade like a tourist or go with the pros. The FFA is where the real ones go. Link in description. During that true bull run, we held this red line as support, not up for debate. And as soon as we broke it, right after we broke it, we then had this cross. So let's try to see if that fractal pattern makes sense. It's like, okay, this red line, once we broke it, then we had the cross. Okay, what's happening now? This is now. What's happening now is, well, we had this red line as support for a couple of years. Then we broke it. Then we had this cross. Ooh, okay. That sounds like a pretty similar pattern. We'll dig more into it, but let's look at the prior cycle. The 2017 top. The entirety of the bull. This was, again, textbook market structure. If you study any cycle in crypto, this is the dream cycle. It has textbook market structure, step by step by step. It's textbook. It's a beautiful thing. We held the red line as support for the entirety of the bull. And as soon as we broke that red line, we had a cross right after. Okay, that's 2 cycles in a row where it's like, oh, once we finally broke, was that sign that's like, hey, wake the hell up, the top is in. And then we had this cross, which is further confirmation like, okay, this is a big cycle shift. This is not some small move. So then we look at 2014. 2014, we held this red line as support for the entire bull. Sound familiar? It's done that every single cycle. Problem is, every single cycle, the narrative becomes with social media, this time is different. Oh, this time there's going to be a super cycle. This time there's going to be this. This time it's this deal is about to be made, and this government and this country is about to. There's always something. Just introduced new shiny object. 4 years from now, we'll be having the same discussion. There'll be a new shiny object, and everybody will be saying, "Oh my God, this time is different." It's like, well, it's never really different because humans are very predictable, and these are predicting, just human psychology 101. By the way, we focus on the facts and the charts, and I keep you level-headed. No BS, no agenda, no paid promotion. That's why you just subscribed. So 2014, we had that death cross right after we had dropped below. Look at when we dropped below this red line here for the first time in the entire bull. We dropped below, and then we had this cross right after. So what we want to dig into now is the green line, because now we understand functionally, fundamentally, how this is working. It's like, okay, I get it now. This red line is our support for the entire bull. Once we break it, that's the sign to the market, like, hey, there's a problem. And that is foreshadowing, because right after that, we have the true 2-day death cross, which then plummets the market. Or does it? What we want to dig into now is this green line. Because I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I have really bad news and I have really good news. And I haven't unveiled either yet. Right now, we're just in the factual uncovering. Right now, we're like detectives. We're going into the chart. We're understanding the chart. We're really breaking it down move for move. And then it makes sense to us, right? What we're understanding now is like, okay, we did break below this red line. And then we did have this 2-day death cross. But what did we do? How did we play with this green line? Because we just rallied up to the green line. We can't make this up. It's right here, right? We plummeted all the way here to whatever, 80,000. And then we rallied all the way up to this green line. So is that a different sign? Is this some sign that we could really turn things around? Is this something that we typically don't do? Let's make sense of this, because the pattern on our previous market cycle, we'll just have both on the screen now. We have our previous market cycle, right? 2022. We fell below this red line. Then we had the cross. What did we do after the cross? We rallied to this green line. Oh, wait a minute. Back then, we actually rallied all the way to the red line after first rallying to the green line. We rallied to the green line first. We had a pullback. Then we rallied all the way to the red. Interesting. Okay, that could be good news. How about 2018? Well, 2018, we fell below the red. We had the cross, and then we only rallied to the green. Although we did peak our head above the green, but we didn't quite make it to the red. We almost did. So one cycle rallied all the way to the red. One cycle rallied above the green, but not quite the red. Okay, how about the previous one? 2014. We fell below the red line here. Then we had the cross, and then we had a pretty large rally, but only to the green, only to peak our head above the green. In other words, for 12 years in a row, we rallied to the green every time, every single time, often putting our head above the green, and one time rallying all the way to the red, which is our most recent one. Now, I wanted to revisit the conversation about the pi cycle top indicator and the hash ribbons. I told you I had a good idea. So, pi cycle top indicator hasn't crossed, as you know. Everybody wants to know, what's your idea? What do you think about the pi cycle top indicator? Especially because it predicts Bitcoin will go well over 200,000. Also, the hash ribbons. Everybody's been asking me about this. This just printed a buy signal. What do I think about this chart? What do I think about these two charts? What's about to happen in the market? I want to show love. I want to show love to all of my students. Shout out to all of my students. I love you guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the lab right now, and I'm going to make this bonus video. And on Friday, I'm going to email it to all of my students, every single one of them. If you're not my student, it's easy. you can click on the link down below. You can join the FFA. It's simple and easy, and it will literally be the best decision you ever made in crypto, ever. The FFA is incredible. It'll be the best decision you ever made. And on top of all of that, you're going to get this bonus video, which could definitely make you a lot of money or save you a lot of money. I always do a lot of stuff for my students. I absolutely love my students, and this is a perfect opportunity to jump in and to get what I really think about the market. If you have my courses, you already have my exact strategy, exactly what I'm looking at, but you don't know my opinion on these two charts. So I wanted to give my raw opinion on these two charts, and I wanted to show love to my students because I just have so much love for my students, and I want to help them as much as possible, as well as I help every single person here on YouTube for free. I do not take paid ads. I do not take paid sponsorships. Everything I put out on YouTube is for free, and I'm not paid for it, period. And there might only be like one other person on earth or two that do that in the crypto space, as you know. So anytime I can just go above and beyond and do something extra special for my students, I'm all about it. So this leads me to the final conclusion, the moment you've been waiting for. What is the good news and what is the bad news? And you may be saying, give me the bad news first. I can hear you saying that. So I'm going to give you the bad news first, and then I'll give you the good news. And maybe we'll end this video on a little bit more of a positive note. So the bad news is history is telling us we're about to have a mega crash. I hate to be the person of bad news, but the facts in this chart, this singular chart right here, if we're just looking at the facts, if this is unbiased, right? Unfiltered. My words are not paid for. You know that. The facts in this charts are undeniable. This chart right here. We're not talking about the millions of charts that are out there right now. We're talking about this one. We're focusing in on this one, and it's undeniable. Every single cycle is the same exact pattern, and we're doing the same exact thing. We're in the midst of having what's called a classic textbook bull trap. There it is. I said it. It's right there for you to see. These are the facts in this chart right here. Now, what's the good news? I said there was bad news and good news. Let's be clear about the good news. We just looked at 12 years and we said, hey, every time we rallied at least a little bit above the green on 66% of the time, right? If we have 3 data points, cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3. Cycle 3 rallied all the way to the red, and cycle 1 and 2 rallied a little bit above the green, but not quite to the red. In other words, 33% of the time, we rallied all the way up to the red from this point we're in right now. And then 66% of the time, we rallied above the green. So where are we at right now? Right now, we just rallied to the green. So what is the good news? The good news is we do understand we have a mega crash coming, but the good news is we could have one little rally left, our last taste of the bull for about, 13, 14 months. So enjoy the taste while it lasts. Trade like a tourist or go with the pros. The FFA is where the real ones go. Link in description.